Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sassy Ren, and I'm coming with part 2 of my pregnancy story. Are you ready for it? You better be ready for it, because if me could talk, yeah, would I be a mute. So get ready. All right. Alrighty, here we go into Zalia's story. Yes, people, and the part 2 this that I had promised. Alright, so I was trying to get Zalia. I had spoken to G and I was like, you know what, I think we could try to have a child, because then I wanted him to experience it, right? And yeah, he I guess went along with it, because next thing you know, 4 months into trying, I got pregnant. And funny thing is, I had gotten to a point where I told him, like, I don't want to try anymore, because when you're actively trying to get pregnant and it's not happening, it is kind of discouraging. It is very discouraging. And with my pregnancy history too, and I'm just always wanting to have a child or have children, I was disheartened, right? So like around 3 months or so, 4 months after, I was like, you know what, let's just stop for a while and see if we can just take a break from it all. And by the January, I found out I was pregnant. So it was like, okay, cool, at least it happened. So lesson to self: every time you stop trying to force your body to get pregnant, it will happen. Just let nature take its course. All right, that's a quick side note right there. Anyway, so I got pregnant now, and I did the test, and say I was like around 4 weeks, right? Remember Linda's story at a certain time, and with the miscarriage, I'd start spotting at a certain time. Come 5 weeks, no spotting, no anything. So I was like, yeah, I'm good. Everything mucho, no cravings, no feeling ill, no anything. Like, all right, cool. It looks like this one is gonna go good, right? So 6 weeks roll around, 7 weeks roll around. So by the end of the 7 weeks, yeah, I start spotting again. I was like, no. But this time it wasn't so bad. It wasn't bad at all. It wasn't like with Linda or the first pregnancy. So then this is the first ultrasound I did of Zalia, and this is where we detected her first heartbeat. Like 8 weeks, I would say, I started feeling really sick, because at first I felt I was priding myself in not having any morning sickness or anything, and then I just started feeling sick, like those sick motion, not even morning sickness, you know, those all-time sickness, motion sickness. Like I'll be getting up off the bed and I'll be so sick. I'll be sitting down and I'll be so sick. Driving in the car, and if the car moves too fast, I will feel so sick. I remember one morning I was brushing my teeth, and maybe I held down my head too fast or something. I felt so sick. G was on his way out to work, and I called him. Can't remember calling him. I called him and I said, G, come back. You can't go to work right now. I think I'm gonna die. And he's like, what do you mean I'm gonna die? What am I supposed to do? I said, G, I feel so sick. We are gonna die. Because I felt like I wanted to throw up, but no matter how much I was gagging, like I wouldn't throw up. So it does. Just imagine trying to throw up on an empty stomach. That is what it felt like. I was like, gee, don't leave me. Come back. Anyways. Alright, so that continued till around like 16 weeks. 17 weeks thereabout, I started feeling better. So that was kind of a good thing, you know. So right around the time though when I started feeling better, the baby started moving and everything, and it's like, yay me. And then it rolled around to Memorial Weekend. People want to go out, go floss and sing. Them want them ear dope so them can look good. So 2 clients called me to come on Memorial Day, and I was like, yeah, sure, come, why not? One was getting box braids, and the other was getting crochet braids. Now crochet braids easy, the box braid kind of take longer. So I'm quick and fast, I finish out the box braid. When I was doing the crochet braids, you know, when I was doing Lavia's hair, I felt like something trickled down. So I stopped, and based on how I stopped, she was like, Renee, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't think I'm okay. I felt something just now, and I don't think I peed myself. So I said, excuse me, and I went to the bathroom and I checked. So when I checked, it wasn't pee, it wasn't bodily fluid, and it was not blood. So when I came back in, she said, is everything okay? I said, I don't think so, because I know I never peed myself. It's not bodily fluid and it's not blood, but there's liquid on my underwear. And she's like, liquid? So I said, yeah, liquid on my underwear. And the only other liquid could be coming from my body. No, it must be the water that surrounds the baby. Yeah. So she's like, you might have to go to the doctor. At that time I was not driving. As y'all just learned, I'm driving a year now. So she's like, do you want me to take you to the doctor? I'm like, no, let me call G and see if he can come home, because either way I'm going to need someone to stay with Lindway. So I finished up her ear. I was almost finished with her ear anyway, right? So I finished up her ear and she left. Alright, so I called G, and G is like, alright, may I leave work now and come home? So he came home. When he was on his way home, I took a shower. Lindway took a shower, just got her ready, got myself ready. I packed a little bag, because we know how them things are go. We don't know the strips, right? So I packed my little bag and my overnight bag, put my nightie in there, underwear, some pads and stuff, you know, toiletries, and I had that with me. So when I was going, he was like, why are you taking that bag? I'm like, I think I'm going to need this bag, okay? But I think this should have been my first time like in hospital in America now, you know. So went there, they checked me, because when I had gone upstairs and I was eating and waiting on him to come home, I felt it again. This was probably like an hour so after I felt it the first time. So I was just sitting there and I felt it again. So I called him back and I said, I felt it again. Some more came down, and he was like, all right, I'm close to home. Anyways, wait, let me backtrack a little bit, because I think this is important. There was a time like 2 weeks before that happened, because when that happened I was 22 weeks pregnant. Around 2 weeks before that happened, I felt so tired. I was just so tired in my body. I was just so weary. For like few days I was just so tired, just so weary. And I remember talking to one of my cousins on the phone, and when I was talking to her, I said, I feel like I need a break. And she's like, need a break from what? And I say, Lindway is being really active. Lindy was like 5 at the time, right? So she was really being active, wanting to play, wanting to do like a lot. And I realized that I just never had the energy to keep up with her. And I said, I feel like I need a break. And I never had family members around where I could just call them up and like, can you keep Lindway for a night or whatever? So I was starting to feel exhausted, and I said it. I said, I'm so tired. I am so tired because I was homeschooling. I was teaching her and everything just at home. And anyway, so I think that was important, that when you are pregnant and your body is speaking to you, you have to listen. Pay attention to what your body is saying. Just like, oh, you can get rest and you can eat the right food and everything, and you can heal, and your body will heal itself. Yeah, the body will heal itself. This is the same way when you're pregnant and your body is saying, hey, rest, slow down, take it easy. You have to listen to your body. So that happened. Come back now to that night. So G took me to the hospital. Went there. They have a thing where they just kind of attend to mothers first. So we did that. Went upstairs. They started checking. They gave me a swab, vaginal swab, to see if it was amniotic fluid, and I tested positive for amniotic fluid. And they're like, okay, we are going to keep you overnight and observe you and stuff. So G and Lindy stayed in the hospital as long as they could, to as late as they could, and then they I think they slept over that night. I think everybody ended up staying that night. Yeah, I think that night everybody ended up staying because it was just a long night. All right. And then when he had to leave, I had to call one of my friends that I had met since I came here, Lisa. Yes, girl, enough love and respect for you. All right. So I called Lisa and I was like, Lisa, can you keep Linda away from me? And she's like, yeah, sure, of course I'll do that. Right. So we got that sorted out, and then I had to stay in the hospital. So I was in the hospital for like 3 days at that hospital, right? And I didn't know that they were waiting to see what was going to happen with me. Apparently, when you have an early rupture of a membrane, the doctors expect you to go into labor like hours after. And I wasn't going in labor or anything, so they were kind of like confused. And then my obstetrician, no, she came to visit me in the hospital, and she was like, okay, listen, what is going to happen? We are going to have to transport you out to Johns Hopkins, because if the baby should come, we don't have the facility here at this hospital. We don't have the equipment that the baby is going to need if the baby should come at 22 weeks. No, it's like, all right, do what you have to do, do what you have to do. So they called the ambulance. This is my first time riding an ambulance. They called the ambulance out to come and get me, and they transported me to Johns Hopkins. I was in Johns Hopkins Bayview Hospital. All right, so at Johns Hopkins now. Anyway, the mommy is coming in. I was trying to get the sun, but I didn't. Sorry. It might be the last time I'm see sun for weeks, right, Lily? But I'm coming right up now to see you. I love you, Shiggy.
Yeah, I know.
At Johns Hopkins now, G didn't. So Lisa had Lindy, and G didn't come with me in the ambulance, but he drove down to Baltimore, right? And he stayed with me, and he came back up for Lindy, and then he drove down back, and it was like a lot. Okay, it was a lot. So I ended up staying in Johns Hopkins for like another 3 days. So I was at that hospital for 3 days, wasn't going into labor. So they sent me out to Johns Hopkins. They did the swab, the same swab and everything. And then like after the 3rd day, they came to me and they say, so we check your swab and we don't see any amniotic fluid on it. Are you sure you had tested positive, and I'm like, call the hospital, find out from them, because if they are a medical facility and they do this, they must know what them test. All right, so this coming to a week now since I would have been away from home, right? 3 days at one hospital, 3 days at the other hospital. So on the 4th day now they say, all right, you're good to go home. So that was 1 week from home. This was the first week of it happening to me. So they decided to send me home. All right, no problem. So they sent me home. I came home and I was supposed to be on bed rest. So of course, again, girl feel like she need for work, but G was like, no, you're not working, you need to be on bed rest. So I end up doing that. This was the day they were going to discharge me, and I realized I never had any photos being pregnant, so I asked G to take some photos of me, and he did. And of course I was trying to be cute and sexy, but that wasn't happening with all those things in my hands. I got home, spending the week with Lindway, and I said, let me capture another one. And of course I wanted to do hair, so I was like, might as well I just do my own hair and get it out the way. And I did that and took a few nice shots. Water. They were like, you need to drink lots of fluid, especially water. So did that. So like on the 8th day of being home, since they sent me out of the hospital from Hopkins, right? I was just laying in my bed, chilling like a villain, and I felt a trickle. So I was like, that not feel right, you know. When I get up, I'm gonna go on, because I know I never feed myself. I know I never do any of the above that I had mentioned before earlier, right? So I got up and I look. G was home. So I called him and I said, G, I think it is happening again. And he's like, what's happening again? And I said, the leakage, the amniotic fluid, it is happening again. And he's like, oh, you know. So I explained it to him, and so he said, all right, then I think we have to go back to the hospital. All right, him call out from work like, all right, I'm not gonna come in because this is happening here and whatever. So we went back to the hospital. We were at the hospital for the entire day. They know that I had to be paid attention to, but every time they would do the swab and go test it, they come back and tell me that it's negative for the amniotic fluid. So around like 10 that night, after being there for the entire day, you know, at 10 that night they say, we are going to send you home because we just can't say, we can't see anything. All right. So before that I'm done, a doctor came to me and G came in the room, and she was like, all right, this is the case at that hospital. Yeah, you know, I know the hospital name. If y'all want to know the name of the hospital, just leave a comment in the comment section down below. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you now. So the doctor said to me, y'all need to decide what it is you want to do, because in cases like these, when the baby is coming too early, chances are the baby won't live, or the baby will have brain damage or whatever, because by this I was 23 weeks, right? The baby will have a brain damage or whatever, so you still have the option. So me and G look at each other like, what option to do what? And she was like, well, you have like 3 more days to decide. I said to her, no doctor, you're gonna do whatever it is you can to ensure that my baby live. And G was pretty much saying the same thing, like, if the baby even come with any issue, yeah, we will deal with that, but do whatever you can now to do to make my baby live. So she ended up sending us home. The long and short of it is, she sent us home, right? On the way home, we were hungry because we were at the hospital all day, so we said we're going to stop and go get some food. On our way to the place to go get the food, the baby, who is Zayla, started moving, and the baby moved. When the baby moved, I feel a gush come down. The baby move again, me feel another gush. So I grow up on G, and I'm driving, and I grow up on him, and I said, G, something not right. And the baby move again, and the third gush was bigger than the first two, and I said, G, I have to go back to the hospital. No. And him is like, what? I'm gonna say, I think the seat wet up because the baby move, and I feel 3 big gush. So same time now I jump on the phone, I call him back, and I call back the hospital, and I say, this is so and so, and I'll be coming back to the hospital. And they're like, why? We just discharged you, we just sent you home. And I'm like, yeah, but the baby just moved, and I felt 3 big gushes, and I just don't feel safe going home. And they said, okay, come. So we're not even getting no food or nothing, you know. We just spin right around and go back at the hospital. Lindy was there with us too. So again, I had to start calling Lisa, making preparation. Remember, I said this was like 11 o'clock, well, 10 going in 11 in the night because it was late. So that happened. Went back to the hospital. G go and pack up her bag for Lindy to carry her, to drop her off, and he came back to the hospital. People, it can get scared though, you know. When I was there in the hospital waiting, the gushes never stopped. The baby kept moving, and the gushes kept coming, and they had to call the helicopter ambulance to transport me out to Hopkins. That is how serious it was. Like in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, everything just changed. And so the baby moved. I saw the gush them does come, the water does come out like, oh my gosh. I don't know how I'm going to continue Zayla's story, you know, without breaking into tears, people, but bear with me, alright? So when that you know, remember me at 23 weeks, you know, go and look it up, what happened to babies when they're born that early. And they transported me out in the helicopter. First time I do a helicopter ride too. Them transport me out to Hopkins. Got to Hopkins, then pretty much just wheel me down to labor and delivery. So they might ask me like, are you having contractions? This, that, and the other. No, I'm okay. I'm not feeling any pain, whatever, right? So they came in labor and delivery for an observation for like the entire night into the next day. G drove down again to come be with me. And yo, G, yeah, the boss. Anyway, him call out from work, him just make them know, say, hey, you have to go take an emergency leave or whatever because things are right. Yeah, so on. Right? So when we're there now, I ended up, I don't want to shorten it, but at the same time I don't want to lengthen it out. I end up being there after that night, going there. People, it was even alright. So that night I ended up going there, and I ending up spending 6 weeks in the hospital. I end up staying in the hospital for 6 weeks after that night. The baby never born like they had predicted. I never went into natural labor, but I kept having the gushes. Yeah, the baby will move and I will feel gush, like the amniotic fluid just keep coming out. I was there and I did multiple ultrasounds just to see what was the position of the baby. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. They had to keep these IV lines in my hands just in case I needed an emergency C-section. And you can see where my hand was even swollen. So this is just a pic of what it looked like after I got out of the hospital. You can turn it if you have to.
Oh, okay.
I'll probably just still.
Do you think you could put it so the light's not?
Okay. Bye bye, little girl. Test upon test upon test to see what was happening. They couldn't find none. I wasn't going into preterm labor like they predicted. None was people. When they look at my hands, you just say marks, beer injection, beer marks on my hand. Yo, it was so bad. Every 3 days them used to come and draw blood from me. Yo, one time one nurse, she'd take my blood and she'd leave it out. Like 2 bottles she end up leaving out on the desk. I never remember. And then when them come back the morning, I'm like, look, see my blood there, why my blood still out? And they're like, oh, we just have to go and throw this away because it's not good anymore. Yo, me swear things say some vampires may I deal with. Honestly, may I tell you. Oh my gosh. What's saying, people? You see the room where they alright. You see the room where they've given? But does I look out in at the front at the parking lot. You hear me say? But does I look out in at the front of a parking lot. And other than the parking lot, what we can see is a wall. One day, but I don't know what this is our pregnancy story. So we have a talk about things. One day I was there and a nurse came to me and say, where is it? So I said to her, where is what? And she said, where's the cigarette? So I said, which cigarette you talking about? Still pregnant, you know, going through my dilemma. She come ask me about cigarette. So I said, what cigarette you talking about? She's like, you don't think I can smell it? So I say, I don't know what you smell. Me smell it too. Like, if a cigarette you smell, me I smell it too. She's like, so, okay, so where is it? And I'm like, ma'am, I don't smoke. So I don't know what you're asking me. And she's like, hold on, wait. So she went next door and she found out that it wasn't I who was smoking, because I don't smoke, but someone else. You get to me, I say? And she came back and she apologized and she's like, you know what? We have to move you and whatever. You think? But anyway, that happened, right? That happened. And yeah, they moved me, go put me in a different room now. It got to a point where every morning I had to be doing like I had to put on the fetal heart monitor to check the baby heartbeat, to see if it was consistent, to see if it had dropped, if there was any drop in our heartbeats or whatever, because based on what is happening, you know, one day the baby's heartbeat went down so low, they took me down to labor and delivery, and she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. She was not ready. Okay, so we ended up coming back, and I waited a few more days until finally, I guess I started developing infection on it's like the uterine wall. I'll link the word, what they call it, but I started developing like an infection on my uterine wall because of the rupture in my amniotic sac and the leakage of the water and all of that. Is like, you know, all of that does possible for make cause an infection. All right, so that happened, and then one morning, no, the doctor came to check me, and when she pressed on my stomach, I reacted to it, and she was like, okay, I think this is it. So they decided to take me down again to labor and delivery to induce me, people. Oh my gosh, the day, when they told me the day when they told me they were going to send me down to labor and delivery, Linda was there and her hair was messy. But I think I'd started taking out her ear before. to redo it, and I end up start combing her ear, right? So when the water attendant came for me to take me down to labor and delivery, I'm like, but my daughter's ear is not finished combing as yet. And they're like, well, I don't know what you're gonna do, but yeah, they need it down there now. And I said, okay, come G. G called his sister and asked if she could keep Lindway for us for that weekend. Yeah, because that was the Friday when they decided to induce me, and the Friday night she came over, she took Lindway, and the Saturday afternoon was when I ended up having the baby. Yeah, Zayla came 12:11. I think it was 12:11 in the afternoon she came. But yeah, I did Lindway's hair on the labor ward, and like, I remember G brother even came, and he was like, why do you do this to yourself? Like, why? I was talking about this with him the other day. Like, why women do this to themselves? Get pregnant and all of that, knowing the pain that they're going to feel. But not until you become a mother you really understand, and especially if you are a person that have been trying on countless occasions to have a child, you don't really understand to the extent the longing that is in a mother's heart or a woman's heart to have a child, whether it be through birth or adoption. There's just this longing, like, not until you have a child you feel like, yes, no, I am 100% completed. Like, so it really deep. When they induce me, that is like the worst thing ever. To be induced is the worst thing ever. Being induced is worse than natural pain. Okay, so after being in labor for a long, I think I ended up doing like probably 12, almost 13 hours of labor with Zelia. So, but after a couple hours of labor, again, I still wasn't dilating. They kept telling me that you're just 1 centimeter dilated, 1 centimeter dilated. All day, every day, well, not all day, every day, but for the entire time, it's like 1 centimeter dilated, and my head water didn't break all the way. And a doctor came in, and she was pregnant, and she decided that she was going to rupture the sac now enough or good enough. And the woman do something, and it was so painful. Like, so then they said to me, they sent in an anesthesiologist, and they were like, if you can't bear the pain, you need to just do the epidural because of whatever. Again, you don't know. So I said, okay, let's do the epidural. No, with Lindway, I never get an epidural, but because of pressure, they might pressure me. I said, all right, then I'm gonna take the epidural. And I can remember the girl that the trainee that was there, she smelled so good. When she said, "You can hold on to me," and the doctor was going to do the needle in my spine, they were like, "Don't move, because if you move, you can get paralyzed," and all these things. Like, why do it if you know it can paralyze a sister? Like, yo. Anyways, they did that, and yeah, it gave me the little thing to squeeze to numb the pain. Now, Zayla position was weird. Zayla was positioned weird, right? She positioned with her head at the back of her head on my spine, and I felt like pressure, constant pressure, like in my buttocks. I felt constant pressure there, and I did only one shot of the epidural, and next thing I know, I just started feeling like the baby was coming. So I said to the nurse, I think the baby is coming. And I remember she got a peanut pillow for me, and she said, "Mother, just turn on your side and put it between your leg," because they kept moving me from side to side so they could check the baby heart rate, right, on the fetal monitor. And when she told me to turn to the left side, I said to her, "Nurse, I think the baby is coming." And she's like, "No, you're not fully dilated as yet. The baby is not ready to come." I don't know how my body jumped from 1 centimeter to 10 centimeters so fast. I don't even think I was even at 10 centimeters when that baby decided to come in, honestly, because that just happened too fast. But I know I felt the baby coming, and I said, "Nurse, the baby is coming." And she's like, no, the baby's not ready. See, by the time she looked, I don't know where she say I going down there, but I know the baby was on her way, okay? And she said, "Mother, don't push. Oh, you're gonna tell somebody not to push? How you gonna tell somebody that? Makes no sense, right? So by the time she said, "Mother, don't push," she knocked the buzzer for the doctors and them people they're running. Can remember, I'm having a premature child. I'm just 30 weeks by this. 30 weeks and 2 days. That's how early Zayla came. 30 weeks and 2 days. So all of the neonatal doctor, all of them people that need to come in, rushing in, right? Coming in, putting on gloves and putting on them plastic cape or whatever it is, them a put on, right? By this, the baby already started crying. So by the time I do 2 more push, and the baby that does, out in her hand ready, the baby born with her head up, with her eye them wide open, and she came out screaming. Zayla, little baby, she came out screaming. The girl was ready for the world, eyes wide open. They were like, "Her eyes are open already. She have a great set of lungs." Oh yeah, because when I was 23 weeks too, they had to give me a shot to help develop our lungs, and I ended up getting like probably 2 or 3 of those shots, the steroid shot, to help develop our lungs. So thank God for that. Our lungs were properly developed. Anyways, now the baby come, they had to rush her off to the NICU and everything, and she was 3 pounds 6 ounces when she came, and boy was I traumatized. All right, so that happened. My baby came early, like I said, 30 weeks, and she had to be in the NICU for 7 weeks. Now I'm going to try and cut this down short. I'll probably come with another story talking about the life of a mother when you have a child in NICU. I'll probably do a story time on that based on my experience. right? But that happened. I had a great team of doctors and nurses that work with me and work with her to help get her to that place. You know, I had to be on medication and all of that, you know, getting different injections, and so just to make sure that everything was good. You know, it was just it was an experience like none other. All right. And during this time when I was in the hospital, I think this is also necessary. During this time when I was confined to the hospital for those 6 weeks or 7 weeks, right? My dad was also battling cancer. So I don't know if that kind of add to the stress factor, but my dad was battling cancer and I was just thinking about, you know, keeping myself, preserving me to be strong for the baby. But then my dad, and if you know, me and my father did have like a really close relationship, so you know that happened while I was pregnant, and it was a very, very traumatic time. I think it was before I got pregnant I found out that my dad had cancer, and then like as the pregnancy progressed and stuff, he start getting worse, you know what I say? So it's not really easy. But like I say, we are gonna do another story time, people, because my sister this gone over 30 minutes already. So I'll do another story time about those after the baby born and what I had to deal with in the NICU and those, yeah, that. So that is Zayla's story coming into this world, and that's it for now. You know, just thanks for listening to my pregnancy story, and yeah, we're gonna come with we're gonna come with the next part. We're gonna do it right after this, but thank you so much for watching. So they're gonna be back to back, all right? But thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you in another video.